Good morning, San Francisco. Welcome to Free Talk SF. I am your host, Steven Zeiler. Today is Monday, July 13th, 2015. Welcome to the Freedomist Show in all of San Francisco, where our mission is to make San Francisco the freest, most empathetic, and independent place in the galaxy. In the entire galaxy. We're stepping it up, going for the entire galaxy. Okay, welcome to Monday. Hope everyone's weekend was extraordinarily independent, just like mine was. I told you a bunch of the things I was going to do over the weekend, and fortunately I did almost all of them, so give myself a pat on the back. Alright, so let's get started. Firearms in San Francisco. Over the weekend, I want to buy some firearms, so I decided to go and figure out the most legal way to be able to buy firearms in California to show you, the liberty-loving San Franciscans, exactly how to go about getting firearms and being safe. So I posted about the Firearms Safety Certificate, California Firearms Safety Certificate, and this is required if you want to follow the state guidelines and the state laws for acquiring firearms. Now, I know a lot of people are saying to me, Steven, you don't need a state certificate to acquire and carry firearms, and while that is true, we do live in a state of anarchy and anyone can do anything they want, including purchasing and carrying firearms outside of what may be called the law. I've decided to follow the law in this case to illustrate for people and to be safe myself. So the test, the Firearm Safety Certificate test, was really straightforward. It was 10 true-false questions, 20 multiple-choice questions. If you read the study guide online, you should do fine. I missed one question, the very last one, which was, how old do you have to be to buy a long rifle in California? The answer is 18, if you don't know. But most of the questions were completely dumb and very obvious. It was like those multiple choice tests in school where it's like the answers are leading you to the question is leading you to the answer because they want you to learn the answer right there in line. Something like that. Anyway, here it is. The California Department of Justice. And there, if you look on the back, you've got the Firearms Safety Certificate. Wonderful. And we're back. I just had to switch over the microphone. I wasn't using the nice mic. My apologies for that. So today was going to be my day for broadcasting live on the internet, and unfortunately I chickened out. I was trying to figure it out this morning at about 7 o'clock, but unfortunately I couldn't quite tell if YouTube was going to, or if the Google Hangouts on Air was going to record the video, so I skipped it and went with ScreenFlow again. Which is an app on my Mac. So this is being recorded. I just don't want to not record it. I'm going to do some tests later tonight to make sure that I can record a Hangout properly, and then I can have you and everyone else calling in. Okay. So I got my firearm safety certificate. That means I can purchase firearms from a federal firearms dealer, which is really exciting. I was looking at the Glock 26, I believe, and the Glock 33. Anyway, some nice, I tried 3. One was too small, one was too big, one was porridge, one was just right. And, okay, so if anyone, I tried to get more people to go down and take the firearm safety certificate, and unfortunately, and I think this is very wrong, a handful of them wanted to do it, but they didn't want to pay any money. And this is just ridiculously awful that in order to exercise a right to
bear arms safely, we have to pay the federal government, and it was only $25 altogether to get the license. So not prohibitive for me, but a freedom should be free for everyone. So if you want to get the California safety certificate for firearms and you don't think that you can afford the $25, please send me a message, showtips@freetalksf.com, and I am totally glad to sponsor you in getting the firearm certificate. I will pay for that, and hopefully we can get some listeners' support for that. If anyone wants to do that, I will come up with the funds to pay for your California firearm certificate, because it's more important that we have free access to our rights to defend ourselves. And I don't want to discourage anyone just because it's $25. And we really, when we're thinking about these laws, we really have to think about the people at the bottom end of society who just, $20 is not something that they ever want to spend because it's hard to come by. And they need to spend that on things like food. So, yeah, I will definitely sponsor that, and I bet that we could get enough donations from around San Francisco, around the America, to basically pay for anyone's firearm safety certificate. That shouldn't be a problem. I think we can make that free. And there are more restrictions that I'm not happy about, that are just probably dumb state regulations that need to be changed. For instance, you need to provide your driver's license to prove that you live in California in order to get the California certificate. But then, in order to purchase the handgun, you have to provide another proof of residence that you live at the place that your driver's license says, when you already had to provide proof of residence to get the driver's license in the first place. So there's a little bit of redundancy there, and I think that we can change that particular law to make it easier for people to safely get firearms, just removing some bureaucratic steps. So I hope that happens. Okay, over the weekend, also, like I told you, I went to free dancing in Golden Gate Park. There was free swing dance, Lindy Hop. I was joined by my great friend John Light, and had a ball. And one great thing was I was wearing my voluntarist pin. Voluntarism, if you don't know, is the philosophy that all human interaction should be voluntary rather than coerced. And I was wearing this voluntarist pin, and one of the guys who was dancing, he came up. He was being a follow, so he was dancing with me, and he said, "Oh man, I'm a voluntarist too, but only recently have I converted to anarchism." And he actually is in the Coast Guard, and since converting, he has resigned his position, and when his contract ends in a few weeks, he's done with the Coast Guard, done with coercive, monopolistic entities such as that. So that really heartened me, lightened my heart a lot. And then another part about the free dance that was really heartening to me was, a lot of times in ballroom dance, they'll talk about the guys and the girls, the women and the men, and the follows and the leads as all being the same thing. And we're shoved in this, men have to lead the dance, women have to follow the dance. And in some places around town, it's very strict. Men and women are segregated like that. But here, they made a very special point to say that it is not about men and women. It's about, if you want to lead or you want to follow, you can do whatever you want. And we have the freedom to choose outside of the society's designated gender role. And they made a great point about that. Oh, that's what I love about San Francisco. The freedom in San Francisco is definitely different shades of freedom in San Francisco. So we have that we have that psychological level of freedom, which is probably the most important. And okay, and then so I was walking back, more psychologically free people. There were some nudists hanging out on Haight Street, and they have to cover their penis, so they have these like penis socks on. They're like 3 or 4 nude guys. One of them was slightly attractive. The other ones were just old with pot bellies. But hey, more power to you if you want to be nude. I heard some of these cops on Haight Street like bashing the nudists, saying, "Oh, they just want attention, blah blah blah." Look who's talking, first of all. But man, there are still so many cops going up and down this Haight Street, and they're pulling people over and chatting with them, basically scaring the bejesus out of most people for really no good reason. Yeah, they're there. So we need to get some cop block. Well, we'll be right back after a quick break with Free Talk SF. Welcome back to Free Talk SF. This is Steven Zeiler. We're talking about freedom in San Francisco. And one big part about our freedom in San Francisco is independent money systems. All of you probably know how much I love gold bullion, and I love saving with gold bullion, and I love it almost as much or more than Bitcoins for saving and transmitting value. And usually I've been buying my coins down on Market Street. There are 2 or 3 gold coin dealers in San Francisco. And this one in particular, Oxbridge Coins, I haven't been to it yet, but I've been meaning to go. And I will definitely be going now because they, apparently, according to Mr. John Light, they accept Bitcoin in exchange for gold. Now, as you know, I want to patronize all Bitcoin shops in San Francisco, and so this is a perfect opportunity to go buy some gold with Bitcoin. Usually I have to like get cash out of the bank and then go, well, at first I have to convert my Bitcoins into cash, into dollars, move them through the banking system, get the cash out, take it to the gold bullion dealer, and get my gold coins. Now, I can skip straight to paying the dealer with my Bitcoins. I get the gold, he gets the coins. And hopefully he's going to actually accept, or he's going to actually keep some of the Bitcoins rather than converting them straight into bank fiat currency. Now, one of the big problems with trying to get people to adopt Bitcoin as merchants is we've seen some success with merchants adopting Bitcoin as this payment channel where we can pay people on the Bitcoin network, but then they use some service like BitPay where it immediately switches to dollars in their bank account, and they sell the Bitcoins as soon as they get them. Now, while that seems beneficial on the outside to the Bitcoin free independent money movement, it isn't as effective as finding the people who actually want to replace the dollar with Bitcoin, where people who when they calculate their profit and loss, they denominate it in Bitcoin. So they say, not how many dollars did we make, how many more dollars do we have at the end of the day than we did? It's how many Bitcoins more do we have at the end of the day than we did. And so those are really the type of people that I'm looking to support. Now with Oxbridge Coins, it's very likely that they will hold on to some of these Bitcoins. And, well, who knows, but I'm going to give it a shot. Either way, if I can, even if they're converting to dollars later, I'm fine. Still spending my Bitcoins there and just taking out one more piece of the Federal Reserve nightmare puzzle, taking that right out. So hopefully I'll be able to add Oxbridge Coins to the San Francisco Independent Business Index, and they get a +1 hopefully for accepting Bitcoin. A friend of mine was telling me that he went to a spa that apparently accepts Bitcoin, and sadly the employee at the spa couldn't figure out the Bitcoin. And I've seen this a lot where people will get a merchant set up with a Bitcoin wallet, and it's usually like blockchain.info, and the merchant, it'll be like the manager or the owner who gets it all set up, but then when someone goes to pay, they can't figure it out because they have to log in to the wallet, provide some type of password in order to decrypt. And really there just needs to be a application for accepting Bitcoin that doesn't have any secret keys on it, so that the employees can't spend any money, but they can still accept payment. Now, with the BitPay has a great app for this called Checkout. However, it's still, so I do recommend Checkout. See if I can pull that up. BitPay Checkout app. It is for iOS and potentially for Android. Yeah, for iOS and Android. So this one's awesome. I believe you have to have a BitPay account. So it's not totally peer-to-peer, but it is awesome. And so if you have a BitPay account, you can get this app, and basically what you do, you enter in, if you can see here on the tablet device, you enter in how much, and it will generate a QR code that embeds that exact amount. And when it's paid, bada bing, it turns green and marks itself as paid. Okay, so that's BitPay Bitcoin Checkout app, and hopefully someone makes something like this except for peer-to-peer, so that maybe the wallet it's your own wallet rather than BitPay. Though BitPay will settle the Bitcoins at the end of the day. So if you provide your Bitcoin address to BitPay, every day at the end of the day, they will send you the coins. So it's a really good solution. It's not immediate gratification. It's not totally peer-to-peer, but it's a great interface, and hopefully someone will make this, but just in a more slick interface that's more independent. But otherwise, BitPay, it's an excellent application. Okay, and then so you know that I've been looking for, I'm going to check out my notes here. I've been looking for libertarian independent meetups in San Francisco, and looking to just network with people, meet more libertarians. And since I've been talking about this show, I've been telling everyone about it. People are coming out and saying, "Oh, Stephen, you're crazy, but you got to meet my friend. He's a total libertarian," or "Man, I know this guy. He's great. He's an anarchist. I don't know what he's talking about, but you two would really hit it off." And thanks to Litecoin at Litecoin for giving me some links to some meetups so I can find more of these people. So we have the Bay Area Voluntarists meetup. Let's see here, Bay Area Voluntarists. Oh, this looks like a great meetup. I'm going to join it, so awesome. Well, we have 2 people in it. Now there's a good handful of people in Bay Area Voluntarists, and then I believe he also linked me to the Ron Paul SF meetup. That one's probably a little bit more depressing than other meetups, just given the political nature of it and the fact that Ron Paul has moved on to greener pastures for sure. I'm glad he's not a politician anymore. Now he has his own private TV network, and he charges money for people to listen to him instead of giving out all of his wisdom for free. So, well done, Ron Paul. I hope he's making tons of money to support freedom. And then there's also the Libertarian Party, LPSF. And let's see what their meetup is like. Now, as far as politics in San Francisco, I really think that we should be targeting the Democratic Party only. We should really be going to establish ourselves, us as libertarians, in in leadership positions in local local Democratic Party positions. Now, I am running for state representative, Democratic Party, on the platform of abolishing the IRS using a coalition of state assemblies to repeal the IRS, repeal the 16th Amendment. But I have less hope for that than being elected to key local leadership positions, and because that probably takes a lot less votes, and then we can actually affect freedom here locally. It's a lot easier to affect freedom here locally. If you even see the mayor standing up to the federal ICE agents. So I think we have a good shot on that. Democratic Party in San Francisco is obviously the only way to go. I would love to be an independent. So maybe some people can investigate being an independent, but I'm going to go with the Democratic Party. And the Libertarian Party, well, maybe we can get some of these people to be stealthy. Okay, now I saw an interesting article someone had posted. The U.S. Supreme Court has many, many times ruled that no driver's license is necessary to drive on the public highways and streets. And this is a fascinating article someone posted on LinkedIn. It has all kinds of historical references to court cases in the Supreme Court where they say over and over again, no license is required for normal use on the highways. It's not a privilege. It's not a mere privilege to drive on the road. It is an absolute fundamental right to drive an automobile on the highway, on the public highway. So we have some legal backing here, and I think that we can keep pushing. There's obviously state laws and state local regulations that guide the police to thinking that you need a driver's license in order to drive. And one thing you need to have a driver's license to do all kinds of stuff these days. So I want to really reduce that requirement. And I thought this article was interesting. U.S. Supreme Court says no license required. So I'll post that in the show notes if you want to peruse that article. Okay, now on to independence. I did some more work on my personal and business independence over the weekend and mixing that with some high tech as in email. I set up for the first time ever my own email server rather than using something like Gmail, Yahoo. With Gmail, Google can see the contents of every email message you ever send. And they can read through that. I know they read through it because they give you targeted ads all the time at the top that are very in line with what you're talking about in the email. So kind of terrifying. And it is amazing, like, there's all these companies in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, who use Google for all of their internal communication, all their email, calendars, contacts. And they're giving up like an insane amount of private, proprietary information about their company and their business strategies to Google. And so I decided to set up my own email server, and that is, I use this awesome thing called Mail in a Box, and this is on Mail in a Box is on GitHub. It's really easy to set up, and it's everything you need to run your own mail server. So it's got the server, it has the webmail login. You can add all kinds of different mail addresses. So I set one up for me at stevenzyler.com, set one up for show tips at Free Talk SF, and this is running on my own VPS private server. And Mail in a Box is great. It works well. All you have to do is point your DNS mail exchange record to the Mail in a Box, and it will magically work. I'm having a little bit of trouble getting my Thunderbird to connect up to it and send outgoing mail, but I can use the webmail pretty easily. So that's awesome. I'm feeling great. Google's no longer reading my email messages. They're coming straight to my own server where I have access only. I guess technically Amazon could access the hardware, the hard drives where the mail is being stored. So I still want to use GPG or PGP, pretty good privacy, GNU Privacy Guard. And to that end, I will show you more. I got myself set up. Now that I have me at stevenzyler.com as my independent email address on my own mail server, I set up my PGP key so you can send me encrypted messages by visiting or I guess you can just get this from the MIT key server and mail to me, or you can check out my PGP key, which my internet seems to be nice and slow this morning. Well, that might load one of these days. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more Free Talk SF on this beautiful Monday morning. Welcome back to Free Talk SF. We're talking about freedom in San Francisco. One of my colleagues, there's a lot of libertarians and anarchists at Ripple Labs. Oh man, I love that place. But one of my colleagues gave me this book called Designing Freedom by Stafford Beer. And this book is fabulous. It is actually a collection of lectures / essays about designing a system, a societary system that has freedom as its outputs. So his big focus is organizing people in such a way that the system, given whatever inputs and everything it has, outputs freedom. So it uses the approach of cybernetics, which is a science of organizing institutions and designing institutions to have certain types of outputs. And he had some really, really interesting points. A lot of times, libertarians are very, very much against the government, against the state, and then pro-markets. And it definitely is a a false dichotomy of the state versus the market, when in reality there's all different types of freedom. There's psychological freedom to be who you want to be, but then there's also freedom based on wealth. Like, if we were out in the middle of the desert or in the woods, we may have a lot of freedom as far as choice, a lack of restrictions imposed upon us by other people, but we would have a lot less freedom than we do here in a complex society where we can fly wherever we want, any day we want, and we can see all kinds of different people and eat all kinds of different food, experience amazingly diverse experiences even within our own cities. And so he talks a lot about the trade-offs between structuring and regulating society versus not structuring society and not regulating. And the whole point was that there are infinite possibilities and things that we could do, and we have to, and it's just too many things for anyone to do. So we have to constrain those things somehow to produce wealth and freedom and peace in our society. So the question is, how can we most effectively constrain what we're working on to build more freedom and peace and wealth for everyone? And he does point out yes, a lot of people are going to be afraid of high-tech solutions and building out large regulatory systems, because often that has had extremely negative effects on freedom and individualism. But the key is we just have to deal with that, because the only real way into the future is through organization and self-regulating systems that output freedom. I mean, we can have regulated systems that output tyranny, but in order to output the maximum amount of freedom for the most people, we have to have some type of regulation. I advocate that that's a totally voluntary regulation and much more decentralized regulation, but that is his key point. So I highly suggest checking out cybernetics, the science of social organization and systems design, and check out Designing Freedom by Stafford Beer. I imagine it's probably available on the interwebs on a nice free PDF. Apparently this book these books are kind of expensive. I think they were printed in the 1970s and have yet to be remade. So just leaving you with that, I'd like to talk about the literature I'm reading sometimes, and this one was especially pertinent to Free Talk SF. So if you like Free Talk SF and you want to support the show, support me, anyone we want to help, for instance, with firearm certificates, please share the show, share freetalksf.com with your friends, family, colleagues. Send it in an email to anyone in San Francisco. Post it on Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media you have. Please spread the word. Also, if you want to donate, freetalksf.com/donate. We love Bitcoins. Bitcoins will help all aspects of the operation. And of course, dance like no one's watching, and encrypt like everyone is watching, because they are watching. And then dance again. I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a lot of dancing over the next 2 weeks. So just getting ready. Do more dancing. Oh man, it makes you so happy. And live as freely as possible. Engage with your neighbors. I've been trying to talk to people more. The train is hard. It's hard to talk to people there. But cashiers, people you see on the corner, just engage and connect with people. It's made me so much happier, and I hope you have that experience as well. And of course, be free, be independent, be empathetic, and stay tuned tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll have a live show on Google Hangouts. So excited for that live show. So have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.